Good morning. Sorry that today's lesson is coming in a little bit late. We had some issues with the video. This week's lesson is going to be just like Monday's, meaning that you're going to take really good notes and then you're going to post the notes to Google Classroom. So there's no actual work to show for the Delta Math. You're just going to actually be like, some of them are multiple choice, some of them are just dragging, and that's it. So the first thing you're going to do is write down these three definitions. Translation is a vertical or horizontal shift. That means that the whole graph moves vertically up or down or horizontally left or right. Reflection is when a graph flips. So it can either flip that way over the y-axis or it can flip this way over the x-axis. Okay? Picture sometimes if you had a graph and you put a piece of paint on one side and then you folded that graph in half and opened it up, where would that paint show up? That's a reflection. Dilation is the stretch and shrink. That's if the graph gets wider or narrower. If there's a fraction in front, it gets wider. And if there's a whole number in front, like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, it's going to get narrower. Okay. So pause the video, take these notes. I'm going to scroll down so that you can see the next part. Pause the video, write this down. Okay, so these are all the rules for transformations of functions. We sort of talked about this a little bit at the beginning of last week's notes. We're going to just reflect on that. So the first is the rules for transformation of functions. You are going to pause the video after I talk, and you're going to write all of this down. Horizontal shift. So what that looks like is inside the parenthesis or the radical or the square root or inside of something, wherever the x is, inside with the x, if there's a number in there, that means that your graph is going to shift left or right. If it's a positive number, like this first one, it's going to shift left. If it's a negative number, like this one, it's going to shift right. A vertical shift is outside at the end here. So notice that's not inside parentheses. It's not inside the absolute value. It's outside at the end. That moves the graph up or down. Positive number goes up. Negative number goes down. So pause the video, copy those down, and make sure to write it like the table. Okay, the next two. I'll scroll all the way down. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that you can... There we go, perfect. Okay. Reflection. If there's a negative in front, okay, so that's in front of the whole function, then it flips down. So that's going to be over the x-axis. So the whole graph flips down. If there's a negative inside with the x, so literally wherever the x is, there's a negative inside with the x, that's going to flip across like that, left or right, and that's over the y-axis. Okay. The a is the number in front of the whole function. If that is a whole number, the graph gets narrower. So if that number is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, narrower, narrower, narrower. Let's say this is a parabola. If you have a 3 in front of the parabola, it gets skinny. If you have a fraction in front, like 1/2 or 1/3, your parabola is going to get wide. Okay, so that's what this means. If it's a fraction or a decimal, it's going to get wider. So pause it, write that down, and then we got the last thing. Okay, so we are going to describe how each function is transformed. So let's look at this first one. If there's a -5 inside, the minus inside, first of all, means left or right, and minus means it's going to go to the right. So this would mean that it goes right 5 units. So see how that's inside the parentheses with the x. Okay, let's look at the next one. Here there's a 3 in front. Remember, if it's a whole number in front, it's going to get narrower. Then we have a +2 inside the parentheses with the x. That's going to go left or right, and since it's positive, it goes right. And then we have a -7 at the end outside. That goes down. So the graph is narrower, goes left 2 and down 7. Next one. This one only has a +1, and is it inside or outside? It's outside, you're right. So outside goes up or down, positive. So in this one, we had the +1 outside, so it went up 1 unit. Here, we look in the front, we do have a number here, and it's a fraction. Fraction gets wider, wider. Inside with the x, so in this case, it's inside the radical, because here's the radical sign, and it's inside of that. There's a +9. So plus inside goes to the left. So that's left 9. The +2 here is outside. So that's not inside, it's outside. Outside goes up or down. Positive goes up. So that's going to be wider, left 9 because it's positive, and up 2 because it's positive. Okay, last two. Oh, we got a number in front again. So number in front, it's a whole number, so it's going to get narrower. I look inside and there is a number, so negative goes left, so left 8. And outside there's a number and it's negative, so that goes down. So that's going to be narrower, right 8, and down 3. And the last one, fraction in front. Do you remember what that means? If you guessed wider, you were right. A +1 inside. What does that mean? Yep, left 1. And a -10 outside. What does that mean? Down 10. Good job. Okay, so hopefully you're saying that to yourself. And it's wider, left 1, down 10. Great. Okay, so now you don't have to write this down. This is just for us to understand together. So we pick 1 point on the black graph and we're going to move to the red graph. Notice that it shifts up 3 spaces. So it shifts up 3, okay? So we first want to identify, there we go. We're going to say it's y equals x plus 3 because it's linear. Okay. So here's another example. So how is this shifted? Well, if I look at the black graph, it goes to the right 2 spaces. Okay. So the parent equation of quadratic is y equals x squared. So since it's right 2 spaces, left and right goes inside parentheses. So it's going to be x minus 2 inside parentheses because right is negative. So do you see how I look at what direction it shifted? And then that's how I choose, do I put the number inside with the x or outside at the end? Okay. Since it went right 2, I put a -2 inside the parentheses. Okay. How did this shift? Well, this one went to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 2, 1, 2. Okay, so it shifted right 4, down 2. Again, it's quadratic, so it's y equals x squared. So right 4 is going to be a -4 inside parentheses, and down 2 is a -2 outside. And that's how we would write it, because the -4 inside means right 4, -2 outside means down 2. Okay, last couple ones. Here, this shifted. Okay, normally it's right here at the origin, this point right here. So normally it would be right here, but it went left 1 and up 2. So our equation, left 1 is a +1 inside, up 2 is a +2 outside. Here, this one shifted, normally if it's from the origin, to the right 1, 2 spaces. So it has the -2 inside this brackets. And for the last one, again, we start at the origin, and I go to the right 1, and then I go up 3. So right 1 is inside the bracket or parenthesis, and it's going to be a negative. And then up 3 is going to be a +3 outside at the end. Okay. Also, notice the entire graph is facing down. That's this negative here. Okay, so that is it for this. And now we're just going to show you some delta math, and then that's it. Okay, so here's an example. I look at the equation, and it has this -5 right here, and that -5 is outside. It's not inside with the x. That means it's going down 5. So you click on the green dot, and you go down 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's all you have to do. And then you just hit submit. And that's it. Okay, so we're going to just do a few more practice, and then that's all you got. So here I look at the equation and I say, where is that number, the +3? Is it inside or outside? And it's underneath, so it's inside this radical. That means that +3 is going to go to the left 3 spaces. So I click on the green dot, not the blue one, the green dot, and I shift it left 1, 2, 3 spaces, and that's all you have to do. Okay? Now we're going to see what happens if I've got 2 things written here. So first I say, inside, is there anything? And there is. There's a +3 inside. So +3 inside means left 3. Then I look here outside. There's a -2. That goes down 2. So I'm going to click on the green dot and I go left 3, 1, 2, 3, and down 2, 1, 2. And that's all you have to do. Let's do one more. Okay. This one has nothing inside parentheses, but it has a -3 here at the end outside. That means I go down 3. So I click on the green dot again and go down 1, 2, 3, and that's it, and hit submit. Okay. Inside, is there anything? Yes, there is. There's a -1. That's right 1. Outside, is there anything? Yep, a -4. That's down 4. So I go click on the green dot, right 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's all you got to do. Okay, and I'm going to show one more thing. Reflect. Okay. So here I look to see where there's a negative. The negative is in front, so that means it's going to flip down, okay, like that. So this time, instead of picking the green dot, I'm going to pick any of the blue dots. I'm going to choose this one. And I say, how high up from the x-axis is it? It's 1, 2 up. So I now have to go 2 down from the x-axis. So the entire graph, instead of being up here, is now down here. And that's how you reflect. Okay, so for the reflection, again, this is in front. So you pick any dot, you pick this one, and this is 1 up. So I'm going to drag it so that it's 1 down. Make sure you go straight down, not at an angle. Okay, let's look at one more. Where is that negative? Is it in front here? No, it's inside with the X. That is going to do a reflection this way over the y-axis. So now I pick any of the blue dots. Let's say I pick this one. And instead of going down, I'm going to go left and right. So I count it's 8 spaces this way. So I need to drag it so that it's 8 spaces the other way. Great. And that's where you go. Make sure you don't stretch it up or down. You go straight across. Okay. If you mess up, you can just do it again. Let's do one more. Okay. This has a negative in front. So I pick any dot. Let's say I pick this one. It's 3 up. So I'm going to go down 3. So I go straight down and then I go 1, 2, 3 down from the x-axis. And that's how we do it. Okay. And the last thing here, we're going to just look to say, how did the black graph transform to the orange? Well, I see that instead of facing up, it faces down. So it flipped down. That's what we just practiced. That means that there's a negative in front. So it has to be one of these 2 options. Then I say, which way did it shift? It went to the right. I pick the point that's like nice in the middle, easy to see. And it goes 1, 2, 3 to the right. 3 to the right is going to be a -3 inside. So I know it's one of these 2 and it's a -3 inside. So it's got to be that choice. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, so this graph, I start at the black one. Again, I pick a nice easy point to look at. It went to the left 1, 2, 3. Left 3 is inside and it's +3. And then up 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's +4 at the end. So it'll be +3 inside, but +4 at the end. So it's got to be that one. And that's how you do these. Have fun.